In 1986, at this exact stadium, Diego Maradona scored the greatest goal in football history. Then 5 minutes later, he scored the hand of God. England went home. The world never forgot. 40 years later, England are walking back into the Estadio Azteca, and Mexico are waiting for them. Here's the number that should terrify every England fan right now. Mexico have never, not once, lost a competitive match at the Estadio Azteca, not in 1970, not in 1986, not in any edition of this tournament on home soil. 4 matches played at this ground during this tournament, 4 wins, 0 goals conceded. The Azteca is not just a stadium, it is the most historically hostile venue in international football. And England, coming off a match where they trailed a team ranked 75th in the world and needed 2 Harry Kane goals in the final minutes to survive, are walking directly into it. This is the round of 16 of the biggest knockout tournament in the sport, and the question nobody in England wants to answer honestly is this: are they actually good enough to win here? In the next 12 minutes, I'm going to give you the tactical breakdown, the historical context, and the specific reasons why this match is far more dangerous for England than any number on paper suggests. Let's start with where both teams actually are right now, because the contrast is stark. Mexico enter this match unbeaten in all 4 games of this tournament, with 4 wins and 4 clean sheets. They are the only team other than the 2 finalists from the previous edition to win every single group stage game. They beat South Africa, South Korea, and the Czech Republic in the group stage without conceding a goal, then dismantled Ecuador 2-0 in the round of 32, a result that was more comfortable than the scoreline suggests. Ecuador are one of South America's most defensively organized sides, and Mexico controlled them from the first whistle to the last. England's tournament has been a different story entirely. They beat Panama and Ghana in the group stage, but labored through both matches. Unable to find consistent rhythm against DR Congo in the round of 32, they fell behind to a team ranked 75th in the world, struggled to create clear chances for long stretches, and needed Harry Kane's 2 late goals to survive. Kane was the difference. But England's cohesion and collective intensity across 90 minutes raised serious questions that this match against Mexico will force them to answer. Thomas Tuchel acknowledged the challenge publicly before this game, highlighting that adapting to altitude in a 3-day turnaround is unrealistic. That is not a coach managing expectations. That is a blunt admission that England's squad will be physically compromised when the referee blows the opening whistle on July 5th at the Azteca. Before we go tactical, I need you to understand something about where this match is being played, because the Estadio Azteca is not just a venue, it is a weapon. The Azteca sits at 2,240 meters above sea level. That is 7,340 feet. At that altitude, the oxygen density in the air is approximately 25% lower than at sea level. For a team that has just played a high-intensity knockout match at low altitude and has 3 days to travel to Mexico City, acclimatize and prepare, the physiological impact is not marginal. It is significant and measurable. Players cover less distance in the second half. Pressing systems lose intensity after 60 minutes. Recovery between sprints slows down in ways that no training camp can fully simulate in 72 hours. Mexico have played every match of this tournament at the Azteca. Their players have lived at this altitude for weeks. Their lungs are adapted. Their legs know the ground. Their ears know the sound of 87,000 Mexican supporters making more noise than any crowd England have faced in years. England went 4-0 against Mexico in friendlies played between 1986 and 2010, but those were neutral venues at sea level. This is not a neutral venue. This is the fortress where Mexico have lost 2 official matches since 1966, 2 in 60 years. The Azteca is not just the 12th man for Mexico. It is a tactical asset that Javier Aguirre factors into his game plan from the first minute. Now let's get into the football, because the tactical matchup in this game is genuinely fascinating. Mexico under Javier Aguirre operate in a 4-3-3 that transitions quickly into a 4-5-1 defensive block when they don't have the ball. The 3 midfielders, Eric Lira, Alvaro Fidalgo, and teenager Gilberto Mora, are the engine of everything Mexico do. Lira and Fidalgo win the ball in central areas and play quick forward passes through the lines before England's defensive midfield can organize. Mora, 19 years old, plays with an intensity and energy that has been one of the surprises of this tournament. The front three of Roberto Alvarado, Julian Quinones, and Raul Jimenez press aggressively from the front, forcing opposition defenders into errors and creating turnovers in dangerous positions. Quinones has been Mexico's standout attacker, scoring both of his shot attempts in the group stage and providing the pace and directness that England's center backs will struggle to contain. He is the player England fear most, and for good reason. Mexico's defensive organization under Aguirre has been impenetrable. 4 clean sheets. A low block that is compact, disciplined, and almost impossible to break down when Mexico are protecting a lead. The collective defensive discipline has been conspicuous throughout the tournament. This is not a team that wins on individual brilliance. It wins on structure, organization, and the systematic exploitation of opponent mistakes. Now, England. Tuchel's system is a 4-2-3-1 built around the combination of Jude Bellingham in the number 10 role and Harry Kane as the central striker. Bellingham makes runs into space behind the defensive line and between the lines, and when England's press is working at full intensity, those two players in combination are among the most dangerous in the sport. Anthony Gordon stretches England's attack down the left flank, providing the width and pace to create one-on-one situations. Trent Alexander-Arnold's right-back crisis has deepened throughout this tournament. His defensive positioning has been exposed by quick, direct wingers in previous matches, and Julian Quinones running directly at him from the left is a specific, identifiable threat that Mexico will have identified in video analysis. Here's the central tactical tension of this match. England's pressing system requires high intensity and coordinated collective effort across the entire team to function. At 2,240 meters above sea level, after 3 days of travel and acclimatization, sustaining that press for 90 minutes is physiologically demanding in a way that neutralizes one of England's primary strengths. If England's press drops after 60 minutes, and at altitude it will, Mexico's quick midfield transitions through Mora and Fidalgo become significantly more dangerous in the spaces that appear. Mexico's counter-attacking speed through Quinones and Alvarado against an England defensive line that pushes high is the specific tactical scenario that Aguirre will have rehearsed all week. Let's talk about history, because the history between these two countries at this tournament is one of the great rivalries of the knockout stage. They have met twice in knockout rounds, and both times Mexico won. In 1966 and 1968, Mexico and England didn't face each other in knockout football, but the shadow of 1986 hangs over everything. That wasn't a knockout between the two nations, but it was the match that defined both countries' relationship with this tournament for a generation. What is confirmed historically is this: England have never beaten Mexico in a competitive match played at altitude or on Mexican soil. The Azteca has changed results that paper suggested should go the other way before, and England's own media are saying it openly. The odds feel stacked against them bringing football home this time. Thomas Tuchel's side are technically superior on paper and carry more individual quality throughout the squad. But football at this level is not played on paper. It is played at 2,240 meters above sea level in front of 87,000 people who have been waiting for this moment for 40 years. So here is my read on how this actually plays out. Mexico are unbeaten in this tournament. They have not conceded a single goal. Their tactical identity is clear. Their defensive organization is elite at this level, and they are playing at home at altitude with the crowd behind them. England survived DR Congo, but didn't convince. Their pressing system will be compromised by altitude from the first whistle, and their right defensive flank is a specific vulnerability against a Mexican attack built on pace and directness. The question is not whether Mexico can compete with England. The question is whether England can compete with Mexico at the Azteca. And right now, based on what both teams have shown in this tournament, the honest answer is that England cannot take this result for granted. My prediction: Mexico wins 1-0. Quinones scores in the second half on a counterattack after England's press drops at altitude. Mexico's defensive block holds for 90 minutes the way it has held for 4 consecutive matches. England have enough quality to make it uncomfortable, but not enough altitude adaptation to sustain the pressure required to break down the most organized defense left in this tournament. The upset is not just possible, it is the most likely outcome based on the evidence in front of us. And if it happens at this stadium against this opponent in this tournament, it will be one of the greatest moments in Mexican football history. England, you've been warned. The Azteca is ready. Mexico is ready. July 5th. Let's see if history repeats itself. If this breakdown gave you something before kickoff, hit the like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more football fans. Drop your prediction in the comments right now. Will Mexico finally end 40 years of hurt in the knockout rounds? Or does England's class win out? Subscribe and turn on notifications. See you in the comments.